Again, my name is Leigh Reeves, and I started a company, like she said, called Snapshot Publishing several years ago now. But I guess my first product out of the gate when I moved to Jackson was called VIP Jackson Magazine. And people still remember that publication, even though I created it years ago. One of my very first advertisers right here was Amy Head, and I appreciate that, thank you. And luckily I did have a lot of people that got behind the product and helped me put that into the market. And it was a scary thing. I was fresh out of college, was married, moved here, didn't know anybody, and started the magazine, and that's kind of how it all got started. So I'm still doing some niche publications. We do some marketing, we do framing, we do media buying, media planning for companies. We do some promotional products. Most recently, I'll mention this because Brenda is the upcoming Mistletoe Marketplace Chair for 2020. I have 19, sorry. I have other products that were like 2 years ahead. Anyway, I'm sorry. But just like this year's Mistletoe, we helped develop the theme. And that's just something that's kind of fresh on your mind, and you can kind of relate back to some of the things that we do. So we sort of help your vision come to life. Brenda.
And she's great. I mean, I don't know where she get all these ideas, but they're just wonderful. I mean, I'm just like, I just want to get inside your brain and walk around. So, hi, I'm Brenda Williams, and like she said, I've been a speech pathologist for about 20-something years, and I accidentally got into business for myself because at the time, there was like a nationwide cut of funding for therapy services in the geriatric population. So I had just graduated, got married, worked for about 2 years, and all of a sudden I went from having a salary position to like, maybe we can give you 3 hours a week. And so it was just a crazy time, and I said, well, what can I do? And I was like, children. They haven't cut funding for children. And that's a need. There's a need out there for services for children. And so that's how I accidentally, got into therapy, because there was a need, and they cut the funding in the geriatric population. Now that has came back. That's come back since 20-something years ago, but at that time, I had to look at how could I market my profession? How could I market a speech pathologist, which is usually an excellent, anything in the medical field like that is usually excellent, but just at that time, they did a random cut of funding. And so I was just like almost a homeless person on the street, not really, but it felt like it in a way when you went from a salary position to 3 hours a week, you start thinking of how can I better market, new opportunities. And so that's how I got into business for myself.
So you hear a theme there, timing. Timing, it's a cliche, but timing's everything. When Leigh came on board, that type of magazine that she started was sort of a new thing, and your timing was good. See, you provided something fresh for us all to advertise in, with a different kind of niche about your deal. Timing again, and you recognized it. So notice that thing, timing and recognizing it, and then having the kahunas or the calling to step into the opportunity. So just that needs to be written down. So I've been doing this so long I forgot the story.
I think it's on your website.
Okay. There's just so many, there's different chapters. I'm a college dropout who thought I wanted to be a doctor. Every door closed that I thought I wanted to open for me did. So I came into this world of what am I going to do, extremely discouraged and very not sure of myself. The way I'm put together, I'm always got my hand on the door to walk out of what I'm doing. I live in the tension of the opposites all the time. So the way I'm put together makes me feel very, very worthy of being here, and also still like a first grader in so many ways. So I come to this cosmetics business as a stylist, not a makeup artist so much. So the first 13 years, you should have hired me to do your entire look, and I did that for 13 years for men and women and girls and whoever would hire me. I found a lab that would do small batches, and I began my makeup line. It was very, very small back in '87, and it's when Bobby Brown came along, and timing again was my right timing, the timing for the natural look. That's all I was interested in. So that was my way. I am self-taught. I do have a business partner, my husband Harold. I would not be here without him, period. And so it's not just me, it's the two of us actually. It's a long, long story. I will tell you more throughout the time here. But so go ahead with some questions.
I want to ask this question because selfishly it's something that I don't know if I could do it. But when you own your own business and you're the boss, you don't have another boss to run your ideas by. I like the validation, and I like somebody to say, yes, that's a great deal, or, oh, you might want to rethink that. So did this come naturally to you, or is it a skill that you kind of had to develop?
I'm sorry, I talk usually so loud anyway that I don't usually need a mic, but I come from a family of business owners, so it's kind of what I knew, and so, you know, I would run something across, like, even though my dad is in a completely different business, I would maybe mention something to him, or to my brother who's a business owner, or, you know, my husband, but I'm very confident in making decisions. So that may have came naturally to me. I'm with 6 of 7 children, and you have to have a voice. and so I just exactly. So and I was, you know, so I've always been able to make a decision. So that actually came kind of naturally to me. And like I said, with my family being in businesses and stuff, it just was just something that was easy for me.
I'm sort of in the same boat as Brenda, not as many siblings, but I guess leadership and it sort of came sort of second nature to me, and I've always had pretty strong ideas and kind of a path and a way in my brain of how I want to get there, and it may not be the prettiest way, it may not be the best way, but kind of my way, and that's the way to do it. And it's worked in most cases, and some not so much. But, you know, my mom sometimes will say, she's like, have you ever thought about that book about the strong-willed child? I read that when you were young. And I'm like, okay, well, good. I've not read it, but anyway, so, you know, I think just channeling, you know, if you've got a strong idea and you feel really confident in it, I think it's fine to run some ideas by people, but also in doing that, I think you have to be cautious of, you know, because you can talk yourself out of an idea real quick. There have been a lot of ideas that I've had that could have been talked out of real quick, and I'm glad that I kind of took my gut feeling and just went with it, and just, you know, kept the course. I won't say it always works, but a lot of times it does. So, I mean, that's my advice. If you have a strong gut, you've got a good, solid plan, just kind of at least get it started.
Being an artistic type, I already naturally marched to the beat of a different drummer. So I always kind of had an insight, even as a child, that I dealt with. It's kind of like being an old soul. I could see things that it seemed that I was sort of alone with most of the time. in the emergence of being what is for me a calling to what I do, I began to identify needs within myself and other females in the area of taking care of oneself and one's exterior piece to that. And in my field, in my industry, it's quite shame-producing. And so my calling is to dispel that. So I'm a game changer in the cosmetics business. My business model is original, and it is based on dispelling that. I intend to turn it upside down and not do it anything like it's done with the other companies. So, and I'm very passionate about that, and my mission always stays rooted in that. I would prefer to go out of business rather than do it any differently. So you can hear my strength in that, and that comes from no one other than from inside myself. No one gives that to me, that's just mine to do. So that means in your own life, ask yourself, and God, what's mine to do? And only you're going to know that. One more part to this, I don't want to go too long. There's a little balance to this too, is identifying those some quality people though that can be your check and balance. Now, you stay rooted in what you're rooted in, but I have a couple of people that if I don't get their opinion on my thinking, then I'm in trouble. They're healthy accountability in order to keep growing my thinking. You do have to have that as well. But like they're saying, be very, very careful who that is.
All of your answers have led me to this next question. Can you tell us about a time where maybe you had some naysayers and but you ended up going with your gut and it was the right thing to do? I think, Leigh, you referenced that. So can you give us a specific example?
My husband.
No,
No, he was. Todd was when he and I married, and I moved to Jackson. And I told him, I said, I'm going to start a magazine. And he was like, really? That's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. And I was like, well, okay, why is that? And he's like, well, I mean, there's a society kind of newspaper. I mean, everybody does that already. I mean, don't do this. I mean, I'm telling you, people in Jackson are not going to respond to this. And I'm like, well, dang, okay. I said, well, so I'm like, well, I don't have anything to lose. I don't know anybody. I mean, who cares? I mean, I can at least get out here and meet some people and try. I mean, and I'd seen this model in other markets, and I thought, well, I'll just try it anyway. Which, to me, I think I needed him to be like, I don't think you can do it. And then I did it. So that really, like, woo. But Todd, but to circle back to that, he, like Harold is for you. I mean, he is my greatest supporter. And, but I think I did. I think I kind of needed to hear that little bit of like, I don't know, sister, I don't know. And that really kind of got me going. And, but he and I, we also work together. He works partly in my business as well. And so, he's kind of my go-to person as far as ideas. And, because he has firsthand seen things that work and things that don't work. And he compliments me too, because he's very much a numbers person. I'm not so much.
Naysayers and haters. I'm a very positive person, so I do not listen to naysayers or haters. But I do have an example of my husband. I also do real estate. Like, I'm not a real estate agent, but I have rental properties and all that. They're in Louisiana. Like, I buy them, and my dad does everything. But I was like, okay, I'm going to do it in Mississippi. I think I would be great, like renovating. I watch HGTV. And I was like, I know that I can do this, and I don't need my dad to, help with it. I'm just going to do it here in Mississippi. And my husband was like, I don't think that's a great idea. And I was like, oh no, I watch HGTV. I know how it's done. And my dad does, my brother does. And he's like, you don't do it. And I did do it, and I know this is being recorded, so hopefully he doesn't see this, but he was right. I hated it. But I did everything. I bought the house, I renovated it, even though I did not even want to walk into the house because I was like, I can't even walk into this hoarder's house that I bought, but because he told me I couldn't do it, it made me do it. You know, I found the people that do the renovations. I did it all, and I was so proud of myself. Once I finished the house, and you know, it looked completely different. I couldn't believe that I mean, this was a house I bought that I didn't even want to walk into. I burnt the shoe. I threw the boots away like after I walked into the house, because I was like, I don't want to be anywhere around me. But I'm proud of myself that I did it. You know, my husband was proud of me afterwards too, even though he was just like, when he went to the bank, he was like, this is her thing, you know, good luck with it. And I was like, I'm going to show him, you know, but if I had listened to him, actually, I probably wouldn't have bought it, but I do feel proud of myself that I accomplished that on my own, and I don't think I'm going to be renovating again. But it was a learning experience. So I'm a good rental or real estate owner. I'm not a great renovator, and I learned that, you know, with that experience. But if not, I would have always kept saying, "Oh, I could have been Joanna Gaines," you know. Exactly. But because I will, you know, step out sometimes out of your comfort zone. So you'll find out if it's something that you do like or something you don't. But you won't have that in the back of your mind, exactly, saying, I wish I had, or I could have, you know, try it. It still worked out great. I just realized I don't want to do that aspect of it. Exactly.
Oh, that's unexpected. Okay, ask the question again. Like haters and naysayers and how you deal with that, right?
Well,
Is that it?
right. Well, just the time that you had a gut feeling and maybe somebody was kind of trying to pull you in a different direction, but
Okay, yeah.
you went with your gut.
I just have so much history. Okay. Well, something that was big. This is big. I hope this answers your question, but the time that Saks Fifth Avenue came calling and wanted to do Head as their exclusive makeup artist line, I had many people saying, there's no way you're going to be able to reproduce yourself. You're not going to be able to duplicate yourself, Amy, and turn this into something that could be your service, the thing that matters to you, and put it out there that way. I thought, oh yeah, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So what happened with that yes I can is that there are truths that I discovered over the first 13 years. There are things that are baseline that have to happen that can be taught. And if you know how to choose the right person for this, then it's trainable. So I did create a business model for Saks Fifth Avenue that I never showed them. I walked away from the deal. And people thought I couldn't do it, and I did it, and that's what we use today. And it is working where lots of dollars are coming in, and it's my beautiful, beautiful staff. It's my people. It's not just me. So it worked.
Okay, let's take this question and kind of hit it on the flip side. Can you tell us about something that you thought that you knew, but maybe you didn't?
I know everything.
You're exempt from that question.
Young, okay. No, I don't know. I feel like I don't know anything still. I don't know how y'all are saying that, but they're put together different from me. As a matter of fact, I love being wrong. And what that means is, if you think that a certain path is going to work, but but you find out that you're wrong, that it actually could be better. I love being wrong. The thing is that you are not the center of your universe. Now that's where you could get messed up and being your own boss, and you could get really out of balance. So there has to be some humility, and there has to be an ability to step aside and see someone else's point of view, because it might be the one you need. Now that's got to be balanced with what Leigh said and what Brenda said. You've got to be guarded about who you let in, because it can be very toxic thinking. And I'm malleable. I could take in the wrong thing. So I have to have pretty strong boundaries on that. But I really like to see a different point of view. I think it's really important to creativity, as well as owning your own deal. So another thing to write down, hold the tension of the opposites.
Brenda, you really have nothing, huh?
I'm just trying to think of,
A specific example.
Yeah, I don't really have a specific example. I mean, I've had more failures than I've had success. You just maybe don't necessarily know about the failures, because I'm not booming that out.
Okay, well, what about an instance in which that you identified a problem and an issue, and then you just pivoted in a different direction?
Oh, that's every day. All the time. I mean, and if you're going to own your own business, you have to be flexible, willing to change, willing to, like Amy is saying, keep your core. But I mean, you're in a business, you're there to make money and make things work and make things happen. You've got staff to manage, you've got vendors to manage, you've got clients to manage. I mean, you have to constantly be there and thinking of ways to create solutions. Not, oh yeah, I don't think we can do that. Well, think of what you can do. Like I don't like for anyone who works with me to say, oh, we can't do that here. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's figure out, well, maybe we can't do that exact thing, but maybe there is something we can do. So just as an entrepreneur, just in your core, you have to be able to improvise and be flexible. And that's it. That's it.
that is true, because you said something that I've done wrong, and even like too much business can be.
Yeah.
I say this sometimes. All money isn't good money. About 2 or 3 years ago, I had a huge contract. I had over 20-something therapists that just were handling that contract. But I didn't realize it, but it was consuming. And I have 3 children, and I was just like, there was no balance. That was just consuming me and then all the other stuff. And it was just, I just kept saying, okay, if I can hire somebody to pick up the kids from school, then I'll be okay. If I can hire somebody to cook dinner, and then I can also do this, and then if I can hire somebody to help with homework, I could, do this, and I thought that, oh, okay, but I'm still picking up my kids at 3 o'clock, so I'm good, but I was on the phone all the time, handling that one contract. And it was like I said, it was a great contract, but it was costing me too much. And my husband one day said, you ought to consider maybe letting that contract go. And he said, and I told him, I said, they need me, but they need me. And he was like, if they needed you, they wouldn't, be 6 months behind paying you. Or, they couldn't do this. And they always caught up and paid me, but for 6 months I had to carry 20-something therapists, and they couldn't know. I mean, I had to, they didn't know what was going on. But all of that stress, and I had to admit it, he was right, and I had to realize that all money wasn't good money, and so I let that contract go. It was just like, I didn't realize the stress that I was under trying to maintain that contract. And so sometimes you have to know when that all money isn't good money. And so sometimes you have to let some things go it opened up other doors for me because I didn't, and they were less stressful doors. You know, I was able to, because I didn't, this consumed my life, I was able to get all these other contracts and things that weren't that stressful. And I was like, okay, I'm making the same money, and it makes better sense. I'm not under this burden, and so sometimes you have to let one thing go that exactly. And they hated to see me go because in my business you have to be a I can person. You know, if they call me today and say there's 150 children that have to be screened in Meridian tomorrow, I can't say I can't do that. If I can't find a therapist to get there, I have to get there. You know, because that's my business. If you know. You can't say no, and that's the good and bad thing about being your own boss. I may can say, okay, I have a therapist that can get there, or I may call that therapist and she's like, oh, I have a clue. So it's me driving to Meridian, you know. So you have to, you know, be able to be flexible and balance it all and know when to say no to something, but also you are a yes person when you're in your own business because you always want them to think that you're the best at that. Exactly. You want it to work.
What about, this is a subject that I think everyone in this room probably has experienced, but each of you have employees, right, that report to you. So can you tell us about an instance in which you had to have a difficult conversation with an employee?
Yes. I mean, you know, we have difficult conversations all the time with our kids, with our spouse, with our friends sometimes. Maybe our friends' kids' parents. I mean, I really hate those. But you know, it's part of life. And I think that it's all about your approach. You know, when you approach a coworker, an employee with whatever issue it is, I think if you just speak with them, you know, speak to them very kindly, respectfully, and I just like to be open and honest, and I tell them, I say, look, I'm not out to get you. I want you to be a part of this team, but being a part of this team, this is what the requirements are. And if it's okay if this is not your skill set. I wouldn't be great in a hospital. I wouldn't be great in a lot of jobs, anything to do with finance. I'd be horrible at that. I mean, you know, sometimes people come to work with you and maybe their skill set's not a match. And maybe by having a conversation with them, a constructive conversation with them, and just sort of laying it out there. I mean, and I'll say, no, I really just, you know, and I never say I hate to have this talk, but, you know, it's just like, I want us to talk about a couple of things where I think if you could make some changes, it would improve the overall efficiency of the group or whatever. You know, I come to them not really a friend boss, like I want to help. I want to help. Let me know how I can help you be more successful. Does that make sense? You know, because that's why we're here to help sharpen one another. And as an employer, I want my employees to be the best that they can be because that makes my company the best that it can be. So, and sometimes you might have an employee that's just not a fit, it's not a match, and you want to give them an opportunity to go elsewhere where they can be more successful. And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's with my business. I always say we, like, you know, so we're a team, so that you feel that you have some input into what's going on, and that you don't feel, I would say, oh, we work together. Even though I own the company, I will say, we work together. Exactly. This is such and such. We work together. She works with me, you know, and instead of she works for me. And I think even that mentality, they know that they're, you know, invested in us, and, you know, us looking good, and us being good, and us being great. So that's why I try to use that we. But I know recently there was someone, she was in grad school and she was also trying to work and she just couldn't do it all. And so when I brought her in, I said, I know that you've been struggling with trying to do it all, and this may not just be the right time for you, you know, I know you're wonderful at what you're doing, but this, you know, just may not be the best time. But when you can come back after grads, we would love to have you. So she was actually like, oh, how I'm going to do referrals for you. She felt, because she felt like, even though I was kind of letting her, I let her make the decision because I said, is this something you can do? Is this something that you can handle? And she really, in that meeting, she said, no, I can't. And I said, that's what I thought. And so even though I knew that she couldn't do it, she came to the decision while we were meeting. But because it was so, the way that it was done, she felt like she was still even invested in the company. And she was like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to talk to this person about a referral and all this to us. So I didn't have to come in and say, look, you haven't seen patients and such as, you know, I didn't have to be that type of person. I just said, let's sit and talk. Is this too much? You know, and so, but I always let everybody, I want them to feel that they're invested in this business, and that if they don't feel good, they can't go to the school or talk to the principal or talk to the superintendent of a place. And I want them to feel like they love working with me, and we are a team. And I think that better sales Williams and
Well, makes it
Associates.
easier to have hard conversations.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, so circling back to the question, having a hard conversation. There's some really good reading on that. I think you need to educate yourself on it, first of all, because we're not really, some personalities are better equipped for conversations that include very difficult content. And some aren't. And there's some good books, there's some really good, so I would educate yourself on that some. First of all, ditto what they said. So I'll just add some things that I think are very important if you are needing to step into a space that clearly has to be confronting. First of all, get rid of your anger. Don't do it until you're done emotionally. And I mean that. You've got to get all of that cleared out. So, and you know when you'll be clear, and then you step in to the conversation. And then the next thing I would say to you is do not talk too much. That's where I always fail. Don't talk too much. Ask questions. Allow them to get to the answer on their own. Okay? Some of this is some good counseling skills, but this is a very serious category because you need to feel, as Brenda and Leigh were talking about, it can end up being an ending. I've had to let many people go. Fortunately, not a whole lot, but to me, it was along the way. And to require healthy accountability. People, if they're not held accountable, you'll be adding to their problem. You get that? So if anything unhealthy is going on in them that leads to why you're in this with them, if you allow it, they'll keep the same patterns going. So it's tough love.
Money that you had to put out to get it going.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends whether you're a service type business or if you're a brick and mortar type business. You know, I think if you have a business plan in mind, I think you know, just like anything. I mean, I'm doing an addition onto my house, and I'm worst case scenarioing everything. How much is the plumbing? How much is the electrical? And I'm adding a miscellaneous. I'm adding a dummy fee. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And I think when you're putting a business plan together, I mean, you need to think of all possible expenses plus, you know, just just a mess up category, you know? And then, you know, I would defer to my friends at Bank Plus. You're welcome. And I think that, you know, just through this program, there are dollars available for women to start businesses. I mean, we are good at starting and running and maintaining businesses. Women are really good at that. You've been to Chicken Salad Chick? Have you worn Spanx before? You know, we are traditionally pretty good at it because we can manage a lot of things like kids and homes and activities and all kinds of stuff that our husbands, I don't think they know about.
Does anybody else have a question?
Well, I also, like she's saying, get it all down on paper as best you can, and also, as best you can, run through how you think you're going to income. It's a way to project how you're going to make the money and when you think you can get a return on it. And you're going to be wrong, probably, but it's really weighing with risk factors is very important. Just don't fall in love with yourself so much that you can't. The risk factor issue's big. So many people go in way too deep and into fast growth is not cool. You just steady, slower growth. Just managed risk.
Okay, let's close with one quick point. I would love for y'all to each share one piece of advice. If you could go back and tell young Brenda, young Amy, and young Leigh when you were just getting started, if you could, I'm younger, sorry. If you could go back and you could tell the younger version of yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
Don't live out of gross income.
Oh.
Don't live out of gross income, yes. Yeah. That would be the gross income. Exactly. My husband always says, you like to live out of the gross income. And being financially smart. And I see some smart people here. I know Bank Plus people that I know who would probably give me a good spanking because financially, my husband's always saying, you cannot live out of gross. So that's what I would have told myself 20 years ago. I mean, I'm now much smarter with that, but 20-something years ago, I would have appreciated if I had, you know, someone and get smart financial advice from people who can, you know, tell you certain things you can invest your money in. I mean, I think I've done well on that aspect of it, but like I said, we're not living out of gross income for me. I have most of my income is untaxed initially, so yeah. Yes. Their Uncle Sam is always going to show up. Yeah, I mean, talk to a good accountant. For me, that's, you know, something, instead of trying to do it all myself 20-something years ago.
That's mine, is not trying to do everything yourself. In the beginning, you wear a lot of hats, and even now I wear a lot of hats. I mean, a lot of hats have to be worn, but then I've had to learn that I can't do it all. I actually don't have the skill set to do it all. There were times I thought that I did, and then I found out that there were other people who could do other things much better than I, and much more efficiently, and opened me up to grow the business. That I do need support staff to help me with some of the detail work that is very, very important. So I think that would be mine. I know initially you can't just go out and hire a lot of people, and I'm not telling you to do that because I agree with Amy 1,000%. You grow your business slowly. You want to make sure that the idea that you have is being received and that it's profitable before you invest more of your life and your money. into it. So it's good to kind of test the waters and move into those waters slow before you just jump out into the deep end. But once you do get things going, realize that you will have to get some help in some areas to be able to continue to grow the business.
What, I'm 57, which year do you want me to think about? When I was 27 when I started, or 40, or let's see. So when I just turned that, so weird. Woo! So, okay girls, what I needed to know is everything's gonna be okay, it's fine. I don't know, I'm just one of those perpetual self-doubt types that it's okay, it's gonna be fine. And so, I could have stood a little more of that. I didn't have enough of that. And so I guess I should be pretty proud that I kept going anyway, because it was such a crazy notion to do cosmetics. What? It's ridiculous. Anyway, I could have stood more of that. But in everything they said, you got to get the right smarts around you, because you know how to do what you know how to do, but you don't know how to do money, for heaven's sake. Right. I don't know, that question's too big.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. Ladies, please join me in thanking you.